Yeah, first of all, I just wanted to thank you all for coming out on a beautiful evening, a beautiful St. Patrick's Day. I personally have been involved in several of these presentations, and I think the greatest gift that you can give is your time to come to something like this. So I don't take it for granted. I really am so thankful to all of you for being here. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. And thank you to the Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library for hosting. So grateful. Yeah.
All right, so this is me. I'm Lorrie, and with my beautiful children. And I chose these pictures because they always had the opportunity to be outdoors. And they went hiking and they went canoeing, and then they got big, and they're bigger than me now, and they still love the outdoors. And I think about them when I think about the future and the climate, and hope that they'll be able to continue to do those activities in our beautiful planet.
My name is Erin O'Kelly Muck. I know almost everyone in this room. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
And today is my son's 20th birthday. Isn't that so great? He was born here in Ashland 20 years ago today at the Ashland Community Hospital. It was a water birth, and I'm just so proud of him, so excited to celebrate him today. And also just it is a reminder of why I'm doing this work, to protect what we have for future generations. My kids, your kids, your kids, your kids, our fuzzy furry kids, our the plants. There was a wonderful goose in the middle of the street the other day, and I was driving and I braked for him, and he waddled across. Like, for that goose, all of these things that we're trying to protect our beautiful environment for. So I'm going to start with just some really basic information on climate. Some key points. 97% of scientists agree that climate change is real. It's caused by burning fossil fuels, gas, natural gas, oil, and it will get worse if we don't do something about it. So another thing that is just kind of a helpful term as we go through this is weather versus climate. Weather is more of the short-term, day-to-day that's happening, whereas climate is the average daily weather for an extended period of time at a certain location. So when we're talking about climate change, we really are looking at that longer perspective. So that's just something that's good to know. In 2019, that's kind of when I was ignited on passion about climate work. There's the coolest little chimey ding-ding. What is it? Okay.
Please silence your phones.
I took a class with SOCAN, which is Southern Oregon Climate Action Now. And this is the slide that just stopped me in my tracks. It was a 10-week class, 3 hours every Wednesday. And it was a science class. It was an actual, hey, roll up your sleeves lady who has a marketing and web design company and isn't in the science world all the time. And I saw this, and these are paths for the future, potential paths for the future. This is if we stopped burning any kind of natural gas, oil, anything right now, and just were able to be at this baseline of Shangri-La. This up here, the red scary line, is business as usual. And this is the line that we are currently traveling on. This is the line people would really like to see us aiming toward, where we're decreasing our pollution and we're doing things to get carbon dioxide and other things out of the atmosphere. But this is the one, and this right here, this is 2050. So if we back up right here, we're right here. And that's why on that other side where it said we need to do something quickly, it's talking about the choices we make right now really do have an impact for how the future is. So that it just had a really big impact on me. Now it's over to you.
Yes, so of course that slide is about warming, but climate change is not just about warming, it's also about that we create more extreme weather, and we've been seeing that just even this winter, right, on the East Coast. they've been just slammed. A friend of ours in Queens said his car was completely buried for 7 weeks. It was just like, wow, how's that possible? And yet we don't have any snow out here, you know. So it just means everything. And in DC, yesterday they had a tornado warning, which is not something that you ever have in DC. So it's not just global, it's not just warming, but it is severe weather events. And last year was the highest amount of damage from severe weather that we had ever experienced. And the 2 years before that were also record-breaking years. So we're really on that pathway where we're experiencing just so many different kinds of extreme weather events because of our changing climate. So, you know, I think when we think about, well, gee, what are we going to do about it? We have to invest in changing our infrastructure. We have to change the way we use energy. We have so many things we need to change, and we say, oh my gosh, that's going to be really expensive. You know, but the point though is that it's going to be expensive. I mean, you're already seeing these disasters rack up. Like, we're paying the price of that right now, and that's called the cost of inaction. So, you know, we're going to spend trillions of dollars for policies that are going to address this problem. We're still going to have damages for the foreseeable future. So yes, we have $15 trillion here by 2100, which would limit the damages by 2200 to this, which is still very high. Whereas the cost of climate inaction is much, much higher. This also communicates that point. This is an actual thing that happened many 66 million years ago, that the dinosaurs got together and they had the possibility of moving forward with an asteroid mitigation program, and they said, no, it looks like that would just cost a fortune. You know, and so we all know what happened, because they didn't put in their asteroid mitigation program. And, you know, where are they now? You know, where are they? That's what I ask, you know. Here's another great concept around whether is it a cost or a benefit to take climate action. So here's a climate summit, and you have a speaker saying, hey, look at all the great things we'll do if we address climate change. We're going to have energy independence. Hey, are you thinking a lot about energy independence these days? I bet you are. I am. Preserving our rainforests, sustainability, green jobs, livable cities, all these great things, clean air for our kids. And somebody in the audience says, well, but what if it's a great big hoax and we create this better world for nothing? You know, anyway, yes. It's a good idea to do these things. We're not going to a worse place by addressing climate change. We're going to a better place. So I think I'm going to change to Erin.
All right, thank you. So we've been doing a lot of research on effective climate communication and how to reach out to people and connect with people on this. And this is something from the Yale program on climate change communications. And they do all of these surveys year after year after year and really ask people, how do you feel? Are you alarmed, concerned, cautious, disengaged, doubtful, dismissive? And what's really interesting is this is these are the audiences that we are trying to work with right now in Ashland. And as you can tell, I mean, what we're looking at from their data is this is over 50% of the people in the United States are feeling alarmed, concerned. That's over 50%, and then adding the cautious. So it's a lot of people who are wanting to do something and worried. So our goal is to widen the circle. So at Ashland Climate Collaborative, you've got like the 25% like super alarmed people. We're, you know, working for Ashland Climate Collaborative. We're volunteering, but we'd really like to expand that and reach out to the concerned and the cautious and say, hey, we know there's a lot of things out there that are daunting, but there are some things that we can do together that would make a really big difference. So that's what we're hoping to do. This is one of my favorite master strategists. His name is John Marshall. He was a bigwig in New York City and worked for as like an ad design firm for, oh, I don't know, credit card companies and Walmart and all these really high dollar clients. And his 17-year-old son took him aside one day and was like, Dad, what are you doing? You're amazing at what you do. And this is where we need your superpowers. We need you in the climate movement. So his big message after he really had this thoughtful, intensive weekend thinking things through was that climate change has a communications problem. We know the science, but for too long we have failed to educate, inspire, and motivate people to get involved and demand solutions. So his company is very data-driven, and they do a lot of surveys as well, global surveys. But one of his strategies is that the biggest motivator for people is protecting the planet for future generations. So it's something that we can all agree on. It's something that crosses all kinds of demographics and socioeconomic stratas and all of that. Like, this is what people are really in alignment on, and they want to do it now to protect the future for the next generation. Another strategy they have is talk like a human, save the world, which I really, I appreciate this just as someone who went to a science class and was really intimidated by the language and learned how to navigate it and to do the translation of 1.5 degrees Celsius equals about 8 degrees Fahrenheit, you know, things like that. But I was like, actually, I think we can use some terms that everyone already understands to make this something approachable. So those are some other strategies there. Saying less of this sort of scary language that might have more of a partisan leaning, and more things that like everyone can relate to, such as pollution. Another fun trend that's been going on for a while is something called climate hushing, which despite all of the high temperatures and disasters, there is a quiet but deliberate retreat from climate policy by governments, financial institutions, and corporate leaders. So this is something from Katherine Hayhoe. She is an amazing climate scientist, very approachable and wonderful. And her big message to everyone is just talk about it. Talk about it as much as you can. Now we'll talk about the power of collective action.
Yes. There she is again, Katherine.
Katherine. Yay.
There she goes. So we really encourage you to check her out. She's very inspirational. She's got a Substack, and I get her messages in my email, and I just really appreciate her. So, you know, I think we all struggle with this idea. It's like, does what we do matter? And does what we do at Ashland matter? And people will say, well, like, of course Ashland thinks that we matter because we have that view of ourselves, but you know, we're just this one tiny community. Well, we really reject that whole idea. We believe that what you do as an individual matters, and it matters because what they have found, this is again backed up by research, is that the most influential element in helping people adapt their behavior is what other people are doing. That's that old, you know, following the Joneses or keeping up with the Joneses thing, which is, you know, actually true. That you can create a culture where you've normed certain types of behaviors, like, oh, well, of course I'm going to ride the bus, or of course I'm going to get on my bike, or I'm going to walk, or of course I don't want to burn fossil fuels in my house, I don't want methane in my kitchen, you know. So just as we just adopt these ideas as norms, these shift the social norms. And in all of our lifetimes, we can think of examples of things that were totally normal when we were kids, like people smoking in the office all day, you know, to things that like you just would not do these things anymore. So really, when we think about climate change, and when you think about it, when you interact with other people, realize that this is a very powerful tool. You don't have to be spewing data. As Erin said, it's not about that. One of the most powerful things that you can do is not just adopt these, you know, practices in your own life, but also just learn how to talk about it with other people in ways that brings them in and makes it friendly. So yes, personal actions matter, not just because any one behavior will solve climate change, but because they shift social norms, build collective efficacy, and inspire others to act. Each choice we make, big or small, can be a catalyst for broader change. Going back to the slide that Erin showed earlier about the Yale research, what they find is with the people who are the most alarmed about climate change, and I have experienced this, is that you feel completely overwhelmed. Once you really take it on board, you can get very depressed, very overwhelmed, paralyzed, fearful, all those things. Those are not emotions that help you actually do anything. Those kind of just, you know, set you back. So I think the thing is to lean into this, yeah, we're going to figure out what works, and we're going to do it, and we're going to spread it, and we're going to have fun doing it, so everybody wants to do it. That's kind of like our philosophy. This also, climate action is like voting. You know, how many of you voted? Do you vote? Yeah. Why do you vote? Because you think it matters, right? Same thing with this.
Oh, not only that, if we didn't vote, our friends would just yammer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right, exactly.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, right. So, you know, it's really the same thing. Looking, if you're, I'm sure because you're here, you're following what's going on in federal policy, and you're watching oil tankers be blown up and things like that, which is not so cool right now, in my opinion. But there's good news out. There's lots of good news. Another thing I subscribe to that I like is I get this daily dose of climate hope and a weekly digest, and it tells me all the really good things that are happening in the world, like what's happening in China right now, and they're gone full bore into renewables. And there's amazing stories about species coming back from the brink of extinction, and there is really a lot of good news out there. So keep, subscribe to things like that. But here's one good news. This is from a very recent study that, there are 46 states, if I'm remembering that. No, there's 23 states that have rules in place to address climate change, either through statute or executive order or a combination of both. And those are the ones that are colored. And that if those states just stayed on track for what they're doing, regardless of what the federal government does, we would still cut our emissions by almost half by 2050. So yeah, it's really a setback that the federal government has switched directions on some really amazing climate policies that were underway over the last 10 years. But there's still a lot of positive movement. That's not going away, or we've got to make sure that doesn't go away. That comes back to voting. So Oregon happens to be one of the states on that map that is taking action and has been working on climate change since 2007, considered to be a national leader. So we already have the policies and regulations in place to achieve our goals. So if we, again, a business as usual slide in terms of our, this is a CO2 measure that with the programs and regulations we've already adopted, if we stay on track on that by 2035, we will be right on track of where we want to be. So let's keep up the good work. Not a reason for doom and gloom. We're on the right path, and so are a lot of other people. So as an organization, so obviously action needs to happen at all these levels. As an organization, we're really focused on this individual and community level action. And it's going to make a big difference.
Ooh,
Yes.
this is me.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If you go back to that picture that showed the states that were the most there,
Yeah.
has anyone done any collaboration with the level of education and universities in those states that makes a difference? Maybe I see states that have very high education.
It could be.
Universities and a lot of people around that would make the difference in those states.
Yeah, I don't know if that research has been done, but we could look into that. Like, what are the correlations?
Those two in the middle, is that Utah, is that Colorado?
That's Colorado and New Mexico. New Mexico actually does not have really high education standards.
Right, yeah.
I think they tend to be more liberal states.
Yeah,
But
It's
anyway,
interesting that
just thinking.
Louisiana is on there.
Oh, there's Louisiana down there.
I know, that's- yeah.
unusual. Well, that doesn't really,
Louisiana maybe is a special circumstance because they have so much exposure with the oil,
Yes.
the port there, and hurricanes
So many
and
hurricanes,
yeah. And we actually, I want to say, we as an organization interact with organizations in some of these other states, which is super
Yeah.
fun to find out what they're doing. So, yeah.
So one of the things that I like to look into is who is doing this right? Who has figured it out? And here are some examples. One really exciting one is that Victoria, British Columbia, has tripled their cycling in just 11 years. So this is an amazing case study and story about them really bringing cycling to their downtown area, connecting it, figuring out how to do it. They've got these little trackers that like count the people that are cycling by. They're really wonderful at getting their data, and their goal is 25% in the next 10 years. It's very cool what they're doing. So that's exciting. There's another article we have, 50 states, 50 fixes, and that is also, it's just more good news about what are people doing throughout the United States. I love Kilcarney in Ireland banned single-use cups, and so everyone like uses an actual porcelain coffee cup, which is super cool. My favorite example here is going carbon neutral. This town called Ashland in England. It's only 1,000 people, but in 2006, when a film came out that I think probably many of us have heard of before, An Inconvenient Truth, they got together as a town and just had like a big town meeting, like, should we collectively do something about this? And the town members were like, yes. Also at the meeting, they served pie and champagne. So I think that's probably what we should have done tonight. But they got a lot of people to just sign up for like, yeah, I want to do this, I'm interested. And they're making great progress. So they've been at it for 20 years. They have reduced their pollution by 40%. They're still working on things. So it's really exciting. And then this 5 small towns, the numbers here are populations, but I was really interested in this Byron Shire in Australia because it's kind of close to us. Ashland has 22,000 people, 10,000 homes. This Byron has 34,000 people, and they got really into regenerative agriculture. Australia has seen some dramatic effects of climate change, like kind of long before we did. I remember reading in National Geographic like 20 years ago and looking at one of their lakes that had shriveled up and there was just a boat, you know, sitting on the dried mud in the middle of the lake, you know, and I was like, that's crazy. And then, you know, that happens to us at Immigrant Lake, and I'm like, it's crazy and it's real, you know, wild. So they're taking it seriously, and they're taking some great steps toward making their town wonderful. All right, back to you.
Okay, so what are we doing here in Ashland? Hopefully you know about some of these things. So kind of like Ashton Hayes, but without the champagne and the pie. Ashland decided to have a climate action plan back, I think the work started in 2015 or 2016, where there were big town meetings. There was a citizens committee that worked on it, and they actually came up with this whole huge climate action plan. It's called the Ashland Climate and Energy Action Plan, often called the CEAP. And it has 22 goals and 65 actions. Now, people who've come up with plans before will tell you that when you just have a plan with 22 goals and 65 actions, that's not actually a plan. That's a bathtub of things, or kitchen sink. So it didn't have any prioritization of like, okay, if you really want to have an impact, these are the things that you should focus on. So I have to say, I think this was an incredible process. I think it was very highly visible, and the city council approved it unanimously and embedded it in the municipal code. So it's one thing to say, yeah, we want to do all these things. This is actually in the city code of Ashland, where where the city made a commitment to achieve the goals in this plan. So I would say, though, the fact that it was kind of like a kitchen sink made it really difficult for people to organize around it. It's never been staffed at the level that it was supposed to have been. And so there's been a lot of difficulty kind of getting focused on this. But I would say that we're making progress now. In 2020, so we have an individual works for the city whose title is, he's a climate and energy analyst, Chad Woodward, a lovely person. And he just did a new refresh informally refreshed report for 2020 that really gives us a lot more focus, and we'll talk a little bit about that. It's the cover for that one. Yeah, so it was, there was a big report in 2020 that showed where we were going, where we were falling behind and what we were doing well. And then in 2025, Chad did a report helping us to focus of where we can really have an impact. So one of the things, like when people bang on the city about whether the city is doing enough, I think we need to remember that the city itself isn't the one that's generating the climate pollution, it's us. This is a residential community. Every community is different. Some communities are manufacturing communities or agricultural communities, and they would have a very different profile. For us, we're a residential community. It's the way we live here that is how we contribute to climate change. So when we bang on the city about doing it, they have made agreements that they're going to reduce the use of fossil fuels in their buildings. But a lot of it is how do they help us make the right decisions and have policies that support us, the community, to reach the climate goals. Because if we can't do it, we aren't going to get there. It's really up to us and their ability with policy to help move us in this direction. This is a complicated chart, but just so you know, a greenhouse gas emissions inventory was done, and the thing I feel like this really demonstrates is here. This is residential. You have some commercial, residential, so it's travel, food, consumption, and energy are the big categories there from that year. And now Chad made it into a simpler picture that, hey, if we're going to try to make anything happen in here, we got to focus on transportation and we got to focus on natural gas, because that's where the most of the emissions are coming from in our community. Here's some other highlights, but these are the two. So if we're, as people who live here, these are the two areas where we can have the biggest impact, and where our city, by changing our infrastructure, supportive policies, this is where they can help us achieve our goals. If we can't do that, we're not going to achieve the goals of that plan. So those are two really important areas. This is another chart that Chad came up with. Let's see. So the red is transportation. The blue is natural gas. And we're going to talk more about what's bad about natural gas. You probably already know. But this is our electric generation, emissions from that. So just those three categories. This starts at 2011 and goes all the way up to 2024. And these are emissions. So obviously the higher it is, the more emissions are focused. So transportation being a huge chunk here, natural gas being a huge chunk of our emissions. Now I want to call your attention to this. So something happened here is that we started paying attention to the usage of natural gas in this community, and so Avista stopped reporting that data to the city. So we, for the last 3 years, they have refused to give us any data about the usage of natural gas in this community.
Where do we get our natural gas from?
Pipelines, it's almost all fracked
Is
gas.
it coming in from Canada? Or?
I can't say whether it's coming in from Canada, but it's almost all the natural gas in Oregon is fracked gas from hydraulic fracking. So part of the city council last year passed an ordinance that requires Avista to start reporting this data starting this year. So that will allow us to see whether we're really actually making some headway. But you can see, that the trend is slightly downward here from 2011, but just not as fast as it could be. So what has Ashland done right? Some successes that Erin felt deserved a gold star. Thank you, Erin. So this is an ordinance passed last year, one of the nation's first climate pollution fees on new construction. We can't ban gas in new construction. That has been challenged in the courts, but we can make it so polluters pay. So if you want to build a new house and you want to have gas in it, you're going to have to pay for that. Sorry, because there's social costs to putting in new gas construction. We're developing climate-friendly and equitable communities under state rules. the whole state is supposed to do that. Ashland's been very progressive in developing that under that framework. We have almost the highest rates of solar and EV adoption in the entire state. We own our own electric company, which is hydroelectric, which, yes, hydroelectric has environmental damages, but it is about the cleanest power that you can possibly get in terms of carbon emissions. And the fact that we own our own electric company also means that we could set policies to achieve the goals that we have for our community. Whereas if you're part of Pacific Power, your investment, your money goes to Warren Buffett and to Berkshire Hathaway, and you have no ability to set the policies and demand that your city council and your city align with our goals as a community. We have lots of incentives. I think we have some information about that, including this last year, for the first time, if you qualify based on your income, you get twice as much incentives as everybody else. So that's really a great thing. Okay, so Erin is going to talk. Okay, we've kind of just laid the context of who we are. Now Erin is going to talk a little bit about, how we got here. Or am I supposed to do this?
I think, is it you?
Is it me?
It's you.
Okay. Well, I should know this because I've been here since the beginning. So we were founded in 2022. We had a task force of city leaders get together for, excuse me, a year to try to decide what was it that we needed in this community in order for Ashland to meet its climate goals. And the consensus was that we needed an organization like Ashland Climate to help people, to support people in making these choices and to push the city also to be accountable. So our mission is we're a hub for community-based climate action to reduce our climate footprint and build a resilient community. We aim to energize, engage, and mobilize all of Ashland to accelerate meaningful climate solutions. And our vision is a community that's healthy, equitable, culturally and economically vibrant, and in harmony with our natural environment. So who can argue with that? It's really great. We have tons of volunteers. So Erin is the executive director. I'm on the board of directors. We have another board member back here, Candace Turtle. But we have tons of people that are doing this work together. So this is the collective power of people all bringing their different expertise to this. So
It's still you.
still me. So what are the moves that we can make that would make a collective difference? So we have to reduce our climate pollution, and we have to adapt to the changes that are already underway. So these are the main things that you could do. You can get off natural gas, which we use the word electrify. Just means switching to clean, renewable energy instead of fossil fuels. Clean up your transportation. We'll talk more about that. Reduce your food waste and compost your food scraps. And use electric landscaping tools. And then adapting means conserving water, protecting our homes from wildfire, preparing for emergencies, and connecting with others. So we do this work with a number of action teams. These are volunteers who work together to drive these different initiatives forward. Now it's you.
No, it's me.
Gosh. Okay.
All right. And I will just track the time. We are about 7:45, so we might speed up a little bit here and just quickly tell you about some of the great moves that we can all take part of that reduce pollution and build community. So composting food scraps. So the problem is that food scraps in the landfill produces methane gas. So our landfill is on the other side of Roxanne Peak. It's giant, and when we take our trash there and pour our food scraps in there, they get trapped away from oxygen and start to create methane, and that methane comes out into the atmosphere. So a solution is composting food scraps and trying not to waste food. And the wins are less pollution, richer soils, and food for farm animals. I was just at the free compost drop-off last week, saying hello to Flavia on a Tuesday, the Tuesday farmers market, and I got to meet the man, Thomas Evers, who has Evers Ridge Farm out in Medford, and he was so excited telling me about the food scraps that they get. He was like, they feed the worms, then the worms have casings, and then we use that, and we fertilize the fruit trees, and that feeds the chickens too. And like, he just was going off, and I was so happy. He was like, come visit. He was awesome. So it was just really great to meet someone who's directly benefiting from our food scraps. So where to compost? Well, you can compost at home using a variety of different methods, barrel bin, worm, or bokashi. You can get a paid pickup service to people to come to your house and pick up your compost, Ashland Community Composting or Rogue Produce, or there's this free drop-off at the Tuesday Growers Market from March through November. And here's some really great news from last year at the farmers market. We collected 336 giant 32-gallon bins of compost. That is 12.5 tons of food scraps that was diverted from our landfill. And that is 0.5 tons of methane avoided, which is equivalent to 15 metric tons of carbon dioxide. So really great news that we're actually making some progress here. Over to you.
Clean home energy.
Yes.
Yes. So, the three largest sources of carbon pollution in your life, if you drive a gas-powered car, you're creating 4 to 8 tons of carbon dioxide per year, depending on how much you drive. The average American, I'll put it that way. But maybe a lot of people don't know that your gas furnace is just as polluting as your gas car. So a lot of people are switching to EVs, but if you still have a gas furnace, that should be a priority for you. Your gas hot water heater, too, also produces a lot of carbon dioxide. So those are, for most people, if you have any of those things, those are some good goals for you. So we have a team called Electrify Ashland now. So natural gas is mostly methane, like 89-90% methane. Methane is 86 times more, has more, 86 times the climate warming potential of carbon dioxide over the next 20 years. So that means any of these things that are about methane, like food scraps or natural gas, these are like super pollutants. Methane is a really big problem. And natural gas is almost pure methane. So we were told that this was part of our transition to clean energy when natural gas came out. And there were some honest reasons for that, because it was very large particulate polluting, like buses that ran on diesel. So that conversion to natural gas, it cleaned up a lot of cities in a lot of ways. But what we didn't realize at the time was how much leakage there is on all of those pipelines. We have just jillions of miles of pipelines across this country, and there's leakage all along. So once, in the last 10 or 12 years, they have put infrared cameras to see, because methane is invisible, and they've calculated the amount of leakage, and it is just as bad as if we were still using coal. And this is just something we didn't know originally, and the oil and gas companies aren't going to tell you this, but this is why we're on this really big campaign to get rid of all these gas furnaces. So we're encouraging people to switch to efficient appliances powered by our clean hydroelectricity. So a heat pump or a mini split are really great ways to go. The wins are less pollution, lower utility bills, and more comfortable homes. These are all the things that you might have that are working on gas now that you can convert to electricity. So how do you do that? This is something that you don't just go out and do overnight. You have to plan this, and we recommend that you look at how old your appliances are. We have energy coaches, navigators who will come and help you develop a long-term plan to eliminate these polluting appliances from your life. There's a new thing in town called the Home Energy Score, where you can email us at homeenergy@ashlandclimate.org, and we have info about this, where they'll come and they'll evaluate your home, and they'll say how are you in terms of your, how would you say it? It's the
efficiency of your home, and it gives you a plan to improve efficiency wherever you are in your journey.
Right. Exactly. Okay. And you might have seen, how many people have seen these signs around town? Have you seen them? Does anybody have one? This is a way of promoting, like when you go electric inside your house, nobody knows unless you tell them, right? you see people's solar panels, but you never know if they got a heat pump. So this is a way of just sparking, promoting this, marketing this idea. Hey, we're going electric. We're really proud of it. I'd love to talk with you about it. We have some yard signs here. If you want to be on that journey, even if you haven't gotten started, you can get a sign from us. And that would be really helpful. And then we'd love to help you move on your journey. Look at us with our yard signs. We're so proud. We're so excited. We've got 85 yard signs out there. We've done 105 home energy reviews for free for people to help them on their journey. And we now have one staff navigator. Here he is. That he comes, and he is named Peter, and he will come and do your home energy assessment for you. Am I doing this one too?
You're doing that one too.
Okay, great. This is a really great graphic about why we should get rid of gas lawnmowers and leaf blowers. You figure like, hey, how bad can this thing be? It's not very big. But they have these old two-stroke engines that are highly polluting. They haven't benefited from all the clean devices that we put on our cars to keep them from polluting so much. So you should know, using your gas lawnmower for 1 hour is the equivalent of driving 300 miles in a gas car. 1 hour of leaf blower use is equivalent to driving 1,100 miles. So these are highly polluting. They're noisy, they're obnoxious, people hate them. There's great options at the Ace Hardware store, all kinds of great electric tools. If you have a landscaper company that you should be talking to them about that you would prefer that they not use these devices. And also, it's really bad for the people who are carrying these around and wearing them. Some of them mostly don't have respiratory protection. It's like breathing out of a tailpipe of a car. The source of this is the California Air Resources Board. So that is another thing you can do. And now Erin's going to tell us about clean transportation.
Woohoo! Yay! All right, so we have another action team, Streets for Everyone, that is all about promoting clean transportation. And basically we're encouraging folks to consider getting out of their gas-powered cars and trucks that are creating pollution and switching to another option. So to an EV, walking, biking, or rolling, taking the bus or carpooling, less pollution and traffic, cleaner air, and healthier kids. I was watching that video about Victoria, British Columbia, and their success, and they have this full bike lane just for parents to drop their kids off at school. And I was like, oh, that looks amazing. So there's some really cool things that could come from that kind of work. So we have a lot of programs. We have Pedal Power, which teaches 4th and 5th graders in Ashland Public School how to bike. We've got First Friday bike rides, which just are really joyful and a lot of fun. We have a bike bus that travels around town. It's basically chaperoned with kids, 20 different kids, going on their way to Willow Wind and trails, and that's a fun way for them to get to school. Bicycle benefits. If you shop by bike, you can save money by putting one of these stickers on your helmet, and we have those for free for anyone today. And then we have a bike buddy program, so if people are looking to just get confidence in biking, we can help with that. And then a big thing we can do is speak up for safer streets. So our team was really instrumental in helping with the lovely Dayglow green street action out there and the bollards that are in place. And as someone who cycles around Ashland a lot, I just have to say it's really nice when I'm on that green strip and I've got those bollards kind of just keeping me with a little bit of separation from the cars. It feels really good. So we do those things. You'll see us in the community a lot with our biking. Barb, do we have a picture of you? There you are. There's Barb. And there's Gia. I know. So we're making progress. We've had 3 schools go through Pedal Power in the fall. We've had 18 First Friday bike rides. Our one in May 2025 had over 50 riders. Super awesome. And 14 local businesses are part of the bicycle benefit program. So that is awesome.
Okay, we're getting close here. Water conservation, obviously a big deal. I'm sure you're doing things to conserve water. Rising temps and decreasing snow, especially this year, I think we're all cringing. creates drought, and so the things that you can do gradually are remove your lawn to move towards water-wise, drought-resistant plants and trees, and use fire-resistant mulch. The fire department has a really great handout on their website. If you just Google Ashland, City of Ashland mulch recommendations, they have a really great handout that tells you which mulches are the best to be fire-resistant. And when we move towards these solutions, we are using our water supply better, and we're causing less stress on our aquatic ecosystems. Obviously, when our potable water takes energy, so the less we're using potable water for landscaping, the better. So we have lots of resources on our website. We track the water conditions on our website, and we have lots of information. Actually, the city has lots of information about, they'll give you all kinds of things like free shower heads. What other things do they? Faucet aerators, the irrigation controllers, all kinds of stuff they'll give you for free. So check that out. Me again, protecting homes from wildfire. I know you're thinking about this. So this is one of the most important things we do to protect ourselves from our changing climate. I almost feel like I don't need to say these things. I probably don't. This is our new reality, and our town was not built with this in mind. So there's an increasing focus on not just what we're doing in the watershed, but also how we create defensible space and harden our homes and neighborhoods around wildfire, make sure we know how to evacuate, having a go bag ready. So the city did create a community wildfire protection plan last year that hopefully we'll be able to implement to really reduce some of the risk. So things that we have or we've done, there's lots of resources through on our website again, and we had partnered with Ashland.news and the city to do a number of programs last year, taking steps to harden your home against wildfire. Really important, like at least take the leaves out from around your house and in your gutters, and look at the plants that you have, and be ready for emergency. Climate clubs is one way to work with your neighbors to reduce your risk of wildfire, right, Erin?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I thought so.
Absolutely. So one of our action teams is about connecting with your neighbors and working on climate solutions together, which is really a powerful way to not feel so isolated and work with community. So Jim Hartman over here is very instrumental in starting the Neighborhood Climate Action Network. We have 5 climate clubs in place right now in Ashland. He's a part of Upper Clay. We also have Allison Street, and you're in the Allison Street one, right? It seems like a great one. Yeah. So I'm kind of the new kid on the block with the Glendale one. We're just picking up steam now. This is my Strava map, which is like an exercise map. I turned it on, and this is me knocking on 52 doors on my street, which I just love that you can see me heading to all these doors. So if you're interested in this, you can attend a climate club to get a feel for it. It's typically a combination of talking about a topic as well as a potluck to get to know your neighbors. You can start a club, grab a neighbor, and knock on doors together. And then we've got the agendas and topics ready to share, and mentors can help. My newly formed club, we are about to have some CERT volunteers come to our house and help just kind of advise us about what we can do to protect our homes from wildfire. So that'll be really, really a great experience. And everything I've heard about these are just wonderful. Like, learning the climate stuff is great, but I think the connections with our neighbors is like just so so important and powerful. So Eric Strong was given some love about his club. Equity.
So we're all in this together, and so one thing we try to stay focused on is how do we make these solutions available to everyone. So obviously, climate change exacerbates inequities in so many ways. And one way I think about it is when I see people working outside during the summer. You know, some people say, well, I just leave town in August because I'm worried about smoke and it's so hot. But there's a lot of people who can't make those choices. So I think as we think about climate change in our community, we really have to think about everybody and not just what we can do ourselves, but how it affects people who are vulnerable and who maybe don't have income to make some of these changes. So some of the things that we've been doing, we had got funding from the Oregon Community Foundation for a climate resilience and equity initiative where we did huge amounts of outreach to vulnerable people, low-income homeowners and renters to try to tap them into some of the services and resources and incentives available to help bring this within reach. And we hope to be implementing a big grant in the next couple months that will directly provide home energy retrofits for some Ashland households. So, this is you?
This is me.
I thought so, because it looks like you. Yeah, it looks like something you would do.
Yay! So yeah, we're getting to the end of the slideshow. Lorrie was interviewed on JPR, and the man asked her, like, so it really sounds like you're wanting people to overhaul their lives. And she was like, well, it's more about making some shifts. And I was like, yes. That's really what we're looking at, is just that idea of shifting what you're already doing to a cleaner version of it. So I think of these three things, and it's like a way that we can make the biggest impact. Hi guys. We've got community stories. We've got some of our community stories here. So we put these on our websites because we're hoping that you guys can recognize what your friends are doing in the community and see, get some ideas from them, get inspired. We're trying to motivate and empower people. We're really focused on local faces, local stories. We're trying to make it fun, accessible language with a weird dangling E down there. So there are a couple of moves that I've been making, and just thinking about the bigger ones, like transportation in my family. Right now we have a family of 2. So I ride my e-bike around, and my husband so kindly gets into our Chevy Bolt and drives that mostly. And then we do have a gas guzzler from 2008 that we use sparingly, and we're hopeful that in the future we'll be able to swap that out for a hybrid. So it's a process. Other things that I do, composting. I had a pickup service, now I'm taking it to the growers market. And then as far as clean energy, I have one of these signs at the front of our house, and we have everything except for the gas furnace replaced. So that's our last biggie to do. So we're working on that. Now it's you.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay. So what you can do, if you haven't done these already, is share your actions, what you're doing and what you're excited about. And we'll give you a little tool to do that tonight as well. Sign up for our newsletter. We have this awesome, fun monthly newsletter. It's an email that tells you all the things that are happening in Ashland connected to these topics. Follow us on social media, and we have this amazing website, which I'll show you in a sec. Donate. We really appreciate community contributions. We're not very lean nonprofit organization, and we rely on your support to be able to do this work. We ask local businesses to become sponsors, and some of them have, which has been great. And we are launching a new travel offset program for people who fly and who feel guilty about it and want to do something about that. You can get a free home energy score. From now until May, it's free, thanks to a grant that the city got. And come on a First Friday bike ride. These are things you can easily do. Bring your compost to the Tuesday grower market. Thanks to our sponsors, and thanks to Pedal Pad. These are the folks that made it possible for us to teach kids bicycle safety in the schools is amazing. All this great stuff on our website that Erin made. It's an incredible website, so anything that you want to know more about, it's all right there. So individually we are one drop, together we are an ocean. And this inspiring quote from Jane Goodall: each one of us has a role to play, no matter how small. Every day we make an impact on the planet, and the cumulative effect of millions of small ethical actions will truly make a difference.
And then I just wanted to give a shout out to Jay Priskinis, who was our community outreach and engagement liaison. He made such a huge difference on our behalf over the last year, and he has some health issues, so he had to step away, but just wanted to send the thanks out to him from this room. He and his family are about to go on a road trip. They leave for Death Valley on Thursday, and it's a very special place to him, and we just send him love.
Not too bad.
So let's protect the future together. So we'll take any questions or things that you want to talk about, and then we're also going, should we roll this out too at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a survey, or it's a checklist, for you to think about what you've already done, what you'd like to do, or something that you have, that you'd like more information about. So we're asking you to do it so it allows you to kind of reflect and maybe set some goals, but also helps us know like what's resonating for you and what you're interested in.
And
So-
there's two different
so-
ones. One's for if you're a homeowner and one's if you're a renter. So just let me know.
Yes. Great, that's great, thank you. Megan?
I promised my father-in-law to ask this question because he can't get a good answer. When it comes to electrifying in every way, what does it mean for the grid? How can we handle it? And are there plans to prepare for an overly taxed grid, electric grid?
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a really good question. And it's changing all the time because of the data centers. I'd say 5 or 6 years ago, because we're going to so much more efficient equipment, we met with people at Bonneville Power who do our electric, and they said that even though we have more devices coming online and more electrification, that the demand was actually going down. Just doing the switch to LED light bulbs dramatically plummeted. All this stuff is very, very efficient, much more efficient than the stuff it's replacing. So that's one thing. I do think that this whole issue with data centers is a big issue with water and electricity. And so, does anybody have a more up-to-date answer about the grid? And obviously, if we could plan here locally, and this is something we've talked to the city about, to have a long-term plan for battery storage and more distributed solar here, and not just be reliant on the grid. That's what every community could do to get energy independence. But sticking on natural gas because we're worried about the grid is not the right answer, because we're creating a terrible other problem, right? Yeah.
And Representative Pam Marsh has got legislation going to help with that data center component of it, and we're one of the first in the nation to address this issue.
Yeah, great.
I saw that like 70% unfortunately of data centers are planned to be gas turbines because of the issues with getting on the grid, being like 7 years in the States for like a renewable new source to have the grid. So it seems like there's going to be a big increase there to support that. What seems like inevitable data center growth.
Right. Well, it's going to clash with existing state policies, right? So in Oregon, we have.
Not going to be in those states.
Right.
You should.
Thank you.
A lot in the Midwest, right,
Right.
where there's empty gas fields, and oil and gas is a big part of that.
And this is the problem with not having federal policy, which we did have. So it's going to be very incremental and
Yeah.
state by state. But I think communities are rising up. In fact, there was some really good reporting just in the last couple of weeks, right? Of communities first said, oh, it's going to be big jobs. No, it's actually not very many jobs, and you're going to be taking all this water and electricity and not really paying for it. So I think there are policy remedies, and hopefully people are waking up. I think they are. We're the people, right?
Yeah,
We
right.
have the power, man. We
Yeah,
can
it's
do it.
true. It's true.
If we speak up. Yeah. Other things. And then as you're doing this, hopefully if you're doing this checklist, tell me what you're excited about or what you've done that you'd like to share.
Well, I just wanted to, I didn't see Firewise on your collaborative groups. Maybe I missed it, but that we're a member of that, and it's been really great over the years. In fact, we got grants to pay to have bad trees removed because they were flammable, and it was,
Excellent.
you know, really useful tool for our little neighborhood that we turned into a Firewise neighborhood.
That's really great. Yeah.
And they give a lot of information on how to shore your house up to prevent, you know, to make it fire wise.
Yeah, right. Are you still getting support from the city?
We've
from
kind
that?
of dropped off a little bit from it because we've pretty much done everything that was on our list
That's
to do. So we sort of taking down the wood fence along one side of our property.
Yeah,
Pretty much everything is done. We've removed all the trees, we put rocks up against the house.
yeah.
You know, things that we used to have mulch there, now it's rocks, you
Right.
know. Cut down
Good
30
job.
trees that were flammable,
Right.
yeah.
Great, so, yeah, I don't know how much the city is like supporting new neighborhoods to get into Firewise.
Oh,
Because I don't think
interesting.
they have a coordinator at that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so for neighborhoods that don't already have that, there's ways that they could self-organize using some of the same tools
Mhm.
and resources. It's all there, it's just not
It's not being,
packaged and
Yeah.
supported financially as much.
It's now
So-
called Better Prepared Neighborhoods, and it's CERT volunteers who are running this. And they're just rolling out their pilot program. I'm sure they've done so much learning from what Firewise was doing because all the materials and so many of the things are there. But yeah, it's kind of under a new name.
okay.
And yeah, so they're coming over to Glendale Avenue and just doing like us as kind of a trial run to see how it goes. And then they'll be in more neighborhoods. So yeah.
Great. So that's exciting that you all have done that together.
Yeah.
It's been years, I mean, probably 10 years ago we were introduced to
Wow.
it, so,
That's awesome.
yeah, we didn't even realize how great it was.
Yeah. I'd love to hear other things that people have done and.
Well, I guess it's curious clarification question, because my understanding about Recology, their green bins, is that you can put uncooked food scrap into the green bins.
This is our compost
Yeah,
expert over here.
you can put whole fruit into the green bins, and that's about it. The problem is that when the food goes to the landfill, if it's not really carefully handled, they can't compost it, and they don't even try. They don't have a composting agreement for most of our food scrap situation.
So the green bins are going to
The green bins go and they're put into a windrow and they are mixed in with other things. And they have a very limited amount of commercial composting for organizations like Amy's Kitchens who have special contracts with them. But the only thing that I have been told by Recology that you can put in your green bin here is whole fruit. Like if you had a bunch of apples off of your trees, you could put those in.
not food scraps from chopping
Not
veggies
food
in
scraps
your
from your
kitchen.
home.
Is that different than what you've been told? Because you have a restaurant.
It is, and we did the green bin for the restaurant for a bit, but it was so much fruit flies, and it was awful. So we have people with
Yeah.
pigs now that pick up all the compost.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
That's a
for
good solution.
That's a perfect.
my catering kitchen, we used the green bin because it was picked up every 2 weeks, and we were producing so much food scrap, like shucking corn, and when you shuck 2 cases of corn, it's an incredible amount of product. You can, like, I hate putting food scrap into the trash.
Yeah.
So I've just been doing that for a long time, and I was curious because that's not something I ever hear that is pushed. But when I called Recology, they're like, anything that's uncooked. It can't have any cooked food in there ever.
Yeah.
But maybe that needs to be, I need to be updated on that,
We
or.
did the same thing.
I put all my stuff in there too, and I wonder what's happened to it.
Yeah, well, I will double check that information. We're in conversation with them a lot, and I have never been told other than. the
Yeah,
whole
because it could
food.
be a good way for a lot of people who already have the green bins.
I know.
It's a
But
low barrier.
You have to
Yeah.
be like, you have to care, but the people in this room already care, so we're already like, obviously, I'm not gonna scrape my plate into the green bin.
Right.
You know, like, my compost bucket is just for, I chop onions,
Yes.
that goes in there, and then,
Yes.
you know, like, I peeled the potatoes today for the mashed potatoes, that all goes in there.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what the
Well, let's
climate.
get some, we'll get some.
We'll try and get
clarification.
some more information on that. And also, there are huge parts of Ashland where even that is gonna be attractive to bears. And most of the green bins don't have none of the green bins have bear-proof locks. That's actually one of the concerns that Recology has, that if they move into this model, they'll have to do a lot of updating of the green bins.
Well, you'd have a lot of people too who wouldn't follow, they put their coffee grounds in and they put their eggshells in and
Right.
meat scraps.
The biggest problem is meat, and once you have that, it has to be handled specifically.
So you said no cooked food goes in?
That was my understanding for the last like decade, but it's not been something I've ever heard or seen pushed as part of composting.
Right.
So I could be wrong.
We'll
They're
follow
like,
up, thank you for that.
damn strawberry stems.
Yes. But I think the pigs is a really great
Well, the
solution.
pigs are great at the restaurant. Yeah. They're so lucky.
Pigs are a great
I
solution.
saw a video, right, in China, in the school, they would like, after the kid eat food, they like go to the machine and the kid like just dump their food in there, the machine like separate all the food, like take the oil out, so the oil is going to like put in some gas for like.
Oh, wow.
And then all the scrap is go to the worm bins and make soil. So pretty much the food they cook, so it's like anything, they just drop it in.
And it sorts it.
So,
Wow.
like this,
Okay.
Yeah, was this in a city?
In China?
in China.
In China, was it in a city in China?
Yeah.
Yes, so the scale is a big issue. When you have a small community like Ashland, to create the facilities to handle the garbage is very expensive. So this is kind of a regional solution in a way, because we have a regional landfill, and the landfill needs to have the ability to handle foods. And they are doing that. They are upgrading. They've applied for a multi-million-dollar grant to improve their facilities, but it's a few years off. And so we really need to do what we can now by composting at home, and by you can pay a small amount of money and have it picked up, and those are taken to farmers. Or if you can't afford that, you can use the farmers market in the farmers market months, March through November. So it's important. And, Lori, you had commented on fossil fuels and the situation globally. One of the big problems that's happening right now is farmers can't get fertilizers that are created by petroleum product methods. And so their costs are going up, and it's spring when people need the fertilizer to get going. A couple years ago, we were told that one of the farmers that receives our food scraps from the farmers market had gotten to the point where he did not have to purchase any fertilizers at all because the soils had been so enriched by the composted food scraps. So that helps us locally keep our food prices down and our food healthy and good for us to eat. It's that cartoon where it's like, well, who cares if it does anything for climate change?
Yeah.
Let's just make our food taste better.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. Other things that you're excited about, that you've done, that you've taken on? I know Barb rides her bike everywhere, even though sometimes.
I'd like to see more incentives for people who don't have good jobs to buy electric furnaces and heat pumps.
Yeah.
Those are so expensive.
And we
It's
have
terrible.
that. We have that come, it has improved a lot. For example, one of the things I'd like to share is if you have an old hot water heater and you are low income in Ashland, you can get up to $2,400 for a heat pump hot water heater, which should pretty much cover it. That is a very generous
That's
rebate.
wonderful.
And everybody has different situations. That's why we would invite you to reach out to one of us, and we will help you with your specific situation. I'm a certified heat pump coach, and I love working with people to come up with rebates and financing and ways to afford change.
That's great.
Yeah.
And on Ashland Climate's website, there's a bunch of information about rebates, like local and state.
But you can't know everything, so feel free to talk to
Yeah.
one of us. We come up, we get in there and
Yeah.
we come up with plans and
Promote it.
schemes,
Yes.
ideas.
Yeah. Anything else?
I just had a question where one of your gold star things was that there's climate-friendly areas have been set
yeah.
up. I'm just curious what that is.
Yeah, so we had a handout at the last presentation, but I could follow it up with you. But if you went on the Ashland website and you searched for climate-friendly and equitable communities, that was a state program that communities are supposed to designate areas that are walkable, that have higher density, that are just less car dependent. And Ashland has mapped out a couple different areas that are going to meet those criteria. So it's a long process, and then people have to build the housing. Like Croman Mill, if we ever have that developed, that is designed to be a climate-friendly and equitable community. So it's a state framework that we've been really on top of in a good way, but everything is very slow.
It's mainly for new development.
Yeah, for new development.
Do you know if the current new development going up on Lower Clay is part of that standard? There's a lot going on Lower Clay.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I don't think so. I haven't seen that on the map. I've seen 3 different spots, but I haven't seen that one.
I think it's the railroad district, the Croman Mill, and is there another one?
Is there a triangle?
Oh yeah, the transit triangle, which is right here.
Yeah.
They call this the transit triangle.
Yeah.
But that is about new development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I picture almost like little European cities where it's, or tiny little clusters where you've just got really walkable streets, you've got people biking, you've got little stores where you can just like put your little bag over your shoulder and go and get what you need and come on home. Like it makes it so much easier than maybe what we have it set up right now.
Right. And one thing is by being on our newsletter list, we'll let you know when there's advocacy opportunities for you to speak up in support of these things, because every time anything comes up, there are always people who say we can't do this. So it's up to us who really want to see these changes happen to speak up. And when we worked on this protected bike lane, we had 65 people write to city council, and that's why it got done. And we would do the whole street, except part of it's owned by the state, and we're having a hard time convincing the state to also put in protected bike lanes. But they're doing that construction now on North Mountain, and there will be protected bike lanes on there too. So we've taken this opportunistic approach of like, where is there gonna be a road construction project, and make sure they put in protected bike lanes. So when we hear about these things, we put out the alert and say, please write to city council, and people have really turned out for that, and that's how we're getting things done. And we'll keep doing it, so I hope that you'll join the voices, because there will always be people saying, no, we can't do this. So we're gonna keep, be vocal, right, Barb? Yeah.
That's right.
I want the grocery stores to send the message to people, don't buy things you won't eat.
Yeah.
Because then there wouldn't be so much waste.
Yes.
And restaurants too.
Yes.
Large
Don't
portions.
order things you won't eat.
Road to go is also.
Road to go,
Making
is a way to
waste.
take home your food.
We're good.
One other quick thing is spring, and where some of us thinking of turning on our irrigation systems. The city does offer a free water audit. They come and they look at your system, and they're really great. I learned a lot from having my tiny little garden looked at it, so it's free, go for it.
Well, thank you for spending your St. Patrick's Day with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Green, it's a good day for the green people.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for caring and coming.
Yeah. Thank